Welcome to episode 0.0... No.
0.035.
003.5.
How are you, sir?
Why is the 0.5 there?
The 0.5 is because we filmed a couple that didn't quite make it, unfortunately.
Well, that was the last one. We've just rolled with a 0.5.
And we had two?
Yeah, but we did 2.5, so I feel like this one's 3. But
Oh,
we've
right,
decided to
sorry,
stick with 3.5.
I think we keep 3.5.
Every episode is 3.5, 4.5.
5.5.
5.5. All right, fella. The little bit of content I put up online with
Oh, yes.
your little quick fire has gained some traction.
Whopper.
The funny thing is you can fool people thinking into an hour and 15-minute podcast is funny by just putting up a 25-second clip.
Yeah, so fingers crossed.
See how many people are
hour.
disappointed when they go,
Yeah.
it was actually shit.
That was the best and worst part.
I think we're keen to roll with a similar format, give a little bit more context on perhaps what each of us are doing, just in case someone doesn't know, which I imagine that some people do, given that the last one was listened to like 10, 12,000 times.
If. Maybe a bit more.
And then I've got some quick fire for you.
Yes.
And given we started the podcast well, the first one is the Keith Cullen Memorial Cup.
Yes.
I thought it'd be nice to share.
Keep the Keith Cullen
We'll
stuff
keep
going.
some Keith
Just little
Cullen theme.
snippets.
So I'm going to ask Jack the quickfire questions and deliver a dad story later on, and the next time you come back to me with quickfire.
Yes.
Now, I can't beat the normal or ribbed banter. Like,
Oh, I don't know.
either way, I just didn't want to like try and beat that today. So I've gone with a slightly different quickfire format rather than trying to top that just yet.
Okay.
Was a hell of a question, and it really caught me off guard.
That's what I wanted, one that was like, bang.
As I said, that's the bit of content that's the bait that we've fed some bait. We've clickbaited people by them thinking the rest is good. Anyway, right. Will I just kick things off with some quick fire, then we'll go into it from there.
I'm excited.
All right. Again, don't expect normal or ribbed. I've gone different. Favorite sports star of all time? Like a slow fire.
Jonathan Edwards.
What?
Triple jump.
What?
No one's beaten that record.
He is your favourite sports star of all time.
I know it sounds stupid, but you said it, and as quickfire, he's the first person who came into my mind.
That's so funny.
I know, but that's purely because I know it sounds stupid, but no one's beating his triple jump record,
There we go. Forget normal or ribbed, Jonathan. I thought you were going to go like MJ. Like, I think,
I think that's
David Beckham,
yeah.
and you've gone Jonathan Edwards. Welsh boy. Is he Welsh?
No, I don't think
Welsh.
he is.
He's not Welsh.
I think he's English.
He's not Welsh, he's English. Ah, nice triple jumper. Lovely.
I don't know why, it's the first thing that popped in my mind. No one's beaten 18 metres 25.
Is it 25?
It's 25 or 26.
Okay. Hopefully this one's slightly faster. Favourite rapper? Currently?
Oh, currently?
All time? Whatever.
Okay. Oh, God, it's tough.
Oh, guys, we'll change this to slow fire.
Kanye West.
What?
I'll be honest, his album Graduation, I love every single song on it. And it's I know 50 was up there, but that's the one album in the world that I think that I don't skip a song.
Fair.
So
Okay.
it has to go to Kanye.
Pizza or burger?
Pizza.
Preferred coffee choice?
Mocha.
I don't want to say favourite.
Yeah, Mocha.
Mocha.
Baby.
James Bond or Lord of the Rings?
James Bond. Bond.
Ankles or shoulders?
Oh, it's got to be shoulders, like.
Thought I'd tee you up. Favourite chocolate bar?
Snickers.
Oh, some rogue choices.
Yeah.
You know when they do like Mr. and Mrs.?
Yeah.
I feel like we'd do a good Cullen and Cullen. I wouldn't have guessed anything you just said, but if they said to me,
I'll be honest.
what's your brother's favourite sports star of all time? I ain't saying Jonathan Edwards, but
I don't know why. It was the first thing that popped into my mind. I was no one's beaten that record.
Yeah.
It stood for a while and I can't see any. Because even the pros now, no one's scratching 18 metres.
again, but still, to me, like sports stars, like icon, you know, like that.
True.
It's open to interpretation. That's where my head is with sports star, which is why I didn't say like athlete. If I'd said athlete, maybe you've gone, oh yeah, athlete, athletics.
Yeah.
Sports star, Jonathan Edwards.
Let's go, Johnny boy.
Mate, we should tag him. He'd be over the moon.
Yeah, hero. No one's beating it.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, there we go. We're off to a ripper, son. All right.
Who's your favourite sports star?
Do you know what? I think it's David Beckham. And I know there's controversy around him recently, but when I was a kid, and even like, forget being a kid, like, still look at him and you're like, you are just, you know, a handsome devil and like...
Killing it still.
You know, whatever, there's stories there for whatever, but like, I feel like David Beckham is like an icon. He is...
Yeah.
You know...
He just went past football though, didn't he?
He's one of a few.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's like Messi and Ronaldo, but again, like, Beckham is different, in my opinion. They were like better footballers and whatever. Beckham's this like... stratosphere celebrity.
He couldn't walk anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That plays football.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, railing a pipe girl helped as well.
Pipe girls.
Yeah. So, Di, I thought...
Jonathan Edwards and David Beckham are quite close, though.
Yeah, I mean, who else is on the list? Like, you know, yeah.
But so many other people than Jonathan Edwards.
Yeah.
Not for me, though. Let's go, John.
Super Gav.
Go on, Gav.
So, to give some context to people, I mean, lots of our friends listen. We've only got a few friends that are... We've only got a couple of listeners, so lots of them know what we do. But why don't you give some context onto what you're doing right now, whether, you know, professional or personal or however you want to frame it. And, you know, you've spoke about a lot about what you plan on doing in the next, what are we, 9 months?
Yeah. So professional, I'm a personal trainer at a gym called Athletic Club.
I see.
BP, GP. So give it a jump. Which is going really well. See how many times I say my boss, who I work with, Ivan, is an absolute legend. He's helped me out no end in my learning, just people skills as well. The guy has like really got it down to a fine art. And the goal is to get people up to a certain amount of hours, provide the best training session, but also community, which we're definitely building. Ideally we want to get like everyone to like 160, 200 hours per month. And next week, like the 20th of Feb, going into March, I'll be up to like 160 hours a month, which is amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. So the goal then is to build up to around 200, and then it'll always fluctuate because in Hong Kong people move in and out. Yeah. So you want to get up to like constantly get like 160, around about there, 40 hours a week, and then fluctuate from like 50 and under. So we're on our way. So professionally with the gym, that's my goal, to get 50 hours a week and then fluctuate between the two.
Class, but
it's going really well. Clients are amazing. Just picked up a new legend today, Alan McTaggart. Thank you, sir. Absolute hero, one of the best storytellers ever. So Athletic Club's going really well. Personally, I'm going back to rugby next year.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby. I am the most excited I've ever been since I was like 13 years old. Just can't wait for it again. Feel it's got like a new hunger for it, which has taken time to build. I think stepping back from rugby and then reassessing my life first. Now going back to rugby, it's not a chore as I used to think. Going to training Tuesday, Thursday, be like, oh God, you've got to go there, get home late, get up early. Whereas now I'm
You just had too many things on your plate.
I did. I was juggling about 400 plates instead of keeping it to smaller.
Maybe we could even talk.
Juggling or spinning?
It was, juggling balls, spinning plates.
Yeah.
I was juggling plates. It was mental.
I was juggling plates and spinning balls.
You were working for Rugby Tots. You were working for F45. You were playing rugby. And between all of those places, you were just traveling everywhere, right? So you didn't have like, it wasn't like you went to work and there was one spot. You were like here today, there next place. And then you thought it was a really good idea because you wanted to get lean, that you were going to fast. Yeah. And unsurprisingly, sort of ended up getting hurt or like
I'd bin myself
completely bin yourself. You were burning about 12,000 calories a day, and you were like, oh, I'm going to fast and get fucking shredded.
I'm going to consume 2.
And you did.
I was, but I was unwell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I go back to rugby, excited to be top try scorer for Scottish next year.
Yeah. Let's go!
And eventually maybe play for Hong Kong in the sevens. Just trying to put it out there, and like, I couldn't train any harder than I am at the moment. And that's where I'd like to see myself in a year or 2 years.
Solid, though.
Fuck yeah, let's go. And that's about it, really. Like, those 2 things. Like, obviously I want to socialise a bit more, because with the bodybuilding I stepped back from it.
Yeah.
And now we're not drinking. I can kind of go out and socialise and then be fresh, so I can do the other things as well. Whereas I can't go out, socialise, get blasted, and then try and keep all the other things going.
How are you? We've not done an awful lot yet. It's February, but I don't think I've done a lot. I don't think you've done a lot of socialising yet. Have you?
Well, I went out on the weekend. Gaurav and Sakshi, it was Sakshi's birthday, and we went to Plume. Remember Picnic?
Oh, yeah.
It looks way better.
Yeah.
Just need a good DJ. I know one. Yes, we were out socialising and stuff, and it was great. I think.
How do you find it? That was going to be my question. Was how are you finding socialising without alcohol?
Okay. The only problem I did find was that because I'm up early for work, then going out and socialising and you don't drink or anything, I get tired very easy. So we were out. We ended up going from Plume to their house, and it wasn't too bad then, because we were sitting down playing games. But when I was out, it was like 11 p.m. and I felt myself lagging, because I was like, I've been up since like 5. Yeah, there's only so many Coke Zeros I can drink.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just dying a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. But I'm still enjoying it. I think I've gone past the part of not being insecure, but feeling like, oh, I'm not drinking, and you get a bit sheepish. Whereas now I'm like, I don't drink.
Yeah.
And I feel great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to go out more and socialise more, because I'd stopped for a bit. But introduce that.
I've got to the stage now, like you, where I don't tell people. Whereas before I was like sober, for doing sober patches, I'd be like, oh no, I'm on a sober patch or whatever, and people are like, oh come on, like have a drink or whatever. Whereas now I've changed. I tell people I don't drink. Yeah. And people go, all right, okay.
Yeah.
And they turn away and they don't question it, as if to be like, what's wrong with him? Like, I ain't even gonna ask.
Yeah, bro, everyone's, honest to God, everyone in the gym, and they're like, are you going to drink? Because we have an athletic club party. Yeah. And they were like, oh, do you have a couple of drinks? I was like, no, I don't drink. And they're like,
yeah, it's so funny.
And I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely chaos on it. And then they all go,
yeah.
It's like, they're like, oh, God,
it's gone from, oh, go on, have one or whatever, to going, right, all right.
It's best he has a soda water.
Hope you're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny that.
Yeah, so I'm at ease with it now. It's good. But I remember at the start, I said this to Reese and James Honey the other day. I felt almost like I was letting people down, and as a people person like you are as well. And I know people don't care, but I feel people's emotion when I see
They do a little bit.
And I'd say people are like, oh, I'm not drinking, and they'd be like, oh.
Yeah.
And like I'd feel it big time, and it would really play on my emotions, and like I'd feel guilty, or I'd feel like I'm letting them down.
Yeah.
And really, I shouldn't feel like that. Yeah. And I used to. It was like really bad. And I remember we'd go out before, and we were going to go to the rugby, because Valley were playing football club, and me and Caroline would go, like Fidzy and Penn and Bros, like all the boys were playing, and all like the Kiwi lads, and Caroline was like, right, we'll go support the boys. And I knew everyone would be drinking. And I was like, I can't go. Because I just had this overwhelming fear of anxiety that everyone was going to be drinking around me, and I had to tell people no. And she was like, but like the boys are playing that. And I was like, look, I really want to support them, but like I'm going to have a panic attack if I go in. And thankfully, she was like super kind about it. She was like, okay. I was like, you can go though. Like, don't feel like you need to stop. But it got to that point at the start. And now, bit by bit,
Yeah.
I'm now kind of like, I don't drink because I'm fucking off my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't drink because I'm mental.
Yeah.
And people go, right, can we get him away from the bar?
Yeah. I'm alright sober. I'm still, I think because we're both pretty bubbly anyway. And we chat loads. Like, I chat, you can tell we're doing a podcast.
The other funny, I don't know if I've actually told you this, and I don't know if I've told anyone this, but like, you know, June and July, I didn't touch a drop.
Yes.
And was on this, like, you know, Super Saiyan mode, and I was like, you know, James had me on this plan to like get lean, and I was literally getting up at 4:30 every day, and I'd walk the harbour front because I had to do 20,000 steps. I was on this like
Remember
mad,
the pictures?
yeah. So on this like mad grind. I was really enjoying it. And then Rugby Tots was really busy, and then we get into August, and then things start to just. Well, August is a bit of an easier month.
Yes, because
For
Tots
the
is
business
off,
and whatnot. And I was DJing, we were just talking about it, I was DJing at Francis's birthday.
Yeah.
And I'd not drunk. And in my head, I was like, do you know what? I'm going to have 2 tequilas
shots.
tonight. I'm going to have 2 tequilas tonight to give me like a buzz, because Francis organised this awesome party, and I was DJing in this club for the first time. And I was like, this is going to be class. But I was like, oh, do you know what? I'll have a little like, I'll have a little tequila. I'll have a little tequila. And I had 2, and then I had 3, and then I had 4, and then I had 5, and then the next thing you know, I've like gone on to play, and I'm now like, fucking hell, I've had 5 tequilas. I'm drunk for 2 months. I've had 5 tequilas. I'm up here. I'm having a hell of a time on the decks.
And you're lean as well. Like, you've obviously been, so you like, it affects you a bit more.
And then I come off, and everyone's like, that was class, you did awesome, whatever. And then there's like the little, it's not a private, you know, it wasn't a private room that night, but there's like a little room to the right, and we go in there, and there's a bottle of tequila in there that someone had bought. And I was like, fucking, it's been written in the stars, yeah. So I went from like, it's just to the point though, is like, you know, you don't drink or whatever. And that night I was like, I'm only going to have 2 tequilas just to give me a little buzz before I go on. I had 5 before I went on. I come off and there's a bottle there. Safe to say, absolutely, didn't lose the plot, but like...
Binned.
Oh my God, I had 22 tequilas. So yeah, that's the other issue that we keep talking about. It's like, there is no...
But it's been so many times, like, where I've gone, right, you know what, 4 pints today. Yeah. Next thing you know, 7 a.m. I'm like, what am I doing? Yeah.
Anyway, don't worry, we're past it for now. I say for now in brackets.
For now, yeah. Yeah, so it's been going well. You finding it right?
Yeah, I had the speech to give last Friday at the Burn Supper,
Yes,
which is a
congrats,
notorious...
well done. It was great.
It was fun, I enjoyed it. It's a notorious men's drinking event. Although from
It's a female one tonight, yeah.
Yeah, mixed.
Oh, is it mixed?
It's mixed.
Oh, I thought it was just female.
This one was main only, which has been going for 147 years, which is wild that anything has gone.
That long,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And the mixed one is this evening. But even at that, I took some non-alcoholic drinks and beers and whatnot. It was pretty funny because I gave them to the... I was there early, and I gave them to the staff. I was like, oh, look, I don't drink, but these are non-alcoholic beers. Do you think you can like keep them in the fridge somewhere for me or whatever? And I'm like, I'm on that table and whatever. And they're like, yeah, no problem. And then everyone's outside in the pre-reception or whatever. Then we go in, and there's this like huge stand, which like comes up to about here, next to our table, with like this grand silver bowl on top of it, filled with ice, and my non-alcoholic drinks inside.
Oh, so it was just for yours?
And it said table 12, and I was like, oh my God.
That's class.
Yeah, I just meant like keep them out the back.
Yeah, like you didn't need to put it on ice and a grand
And they did, but
bucket.
I had this huge huge thing behind me, and then they put me next to a lad who also doesn't drink, old boy.
Unreal.
Was legend.
Was he having some of them?
Yeah, we just put them all in there. And then he brought a non-alcoholic Shiraz as well. So I had a glass of red, but...
Class.
Yeah.
What was it like? I hate red wine.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I don't really like red wine, but this is a slight exaggeration. However, it tasted like Ribena dye. So for me, it was grand. Like, I was like, well, this is funny. But if you were a wine drinker and then you drank that, you'd go, that is not Shiraz.
Yeah.
So it was grand.
Sign me up, Di. Where did you get it from?
I took a photo of it.
Okay, class.
He said they've got a rosé, and he's like, the rosé is the best.
Cheeky Vimto.
He's like, I brought this red because, it's a bit more of a red wine event than a rosé event.
The
The burn supper, sitting down with steak and haggis, and then I'll have a rosé. So yeah, I went to that, and that was
do you
fine.
have haggis there? Yeah.
Yeah,
What is? I don't think I've ever tasted it.
it's
What actually is haggis again?
well, it's minced lamb with a variety of other sheep ingredients.
Nice.
Yeah. It tastes like, I'm gonna say it, but the teachers on the next part of the discussion. It's a bit like faggots, but
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love faggots.
yeah. And for
It's
for
so
context, for people that don't know what we're talking about, faggots is a Welsh minced lamb dish, like a meatball. Yeah.
With like mash and peas and
It's
gravy.
not like faggots in the way it looks, but it's similar sort of taste. It was sound.
I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. It was good. So anyway, I didn't drink at that, and that is like a men's like,
Get on it.
yeah. But they didn't know I was not drinking either because I've got a beer, and some
Yeah,
of
I
the
don't
Scottish
think
lads
people
thought
really
I broke.
noticed. Yeah, I thought
They thought I broke it. But I was like, nah, you don't worry, lads.
Month in, is it, Ben?
It's a 0. Cool. Yeah.
Life's good. It's really good. I think everything's moving smoothly. Keeping my head together.
One day at a time.
One day at a time, Di. What about you?
Really
Save time.
happy. Okay, so yeah.
No, I was joking. That's
Wait, what did
time
you say?
banter. That was saving time.
Oh, yeah. That's too
We have
long.
a joke with Ben because
It's too
he
long.
has so many different jobs that he'll do anything to save time.
It's funny.
Brush his teeth in bed and then swallow so he doesn't have to waste time getting up to put in the sick. Which is a joke. But yeah.
Yeah, that is a joke.
Saves 10 seconds, you know?
Yeah, I got my toothbrush next to my bed, toothpaste under my pillow, and a little bottle of water.
He's just got like a 6 foot by 6 foot flat. 'Cause it's like,
Yeah.
it's easier.
Well, I don't want to walk around too far.
Imagine how much time you'd save.
Yeah. I sleep next to my clothes.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Rugby Tots is the main business. That's going really well. We're working really hard on improving our program
Yes.
and what the coaches do as a company. So everyone is like, you should, leave. If you left your class today and went to another class tomorrow, or even the same day, granted the coaches have different personalities and styles, but it shouldn't look any different. We want
You kind of want it to be the same
we
throughout.
want to really make sure that that goes from everything, like the coach's delivery, the experience, like how we engage with the kids. So we're working really hard on that. The team couldn't be happy with where the team is. So that is good. We have our events company. We are back to life 2 weeks today. 2 weeks today, people are almost walking through the door.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, which will be fun, a lot of fun.
Glastonbury.
Always is stressful, but
It always comes together.
yeah, and then I guess I'm working hard on my DJing this year, and proud to say I've got a nightclub residency now, as of today.
And the venue is?
The Quality Goods Club,
Let's go. And that is quality.
which I would pick anywhere in the city right now, to be honest.
Well, loads of people have been. I was speaking to a couple of the lads in the gym. They've been a couple of times and they love it.
Yeah,
Have I been?
I don't know.
Didn't they change it? Didn't they used to be somewhere else?
Wait, yeah, long time ago it was Drop.
Right, I know it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been in there
yeah.
a couple of times.
Very different to Drop now, though.
Yes, yeah. And it's like they've redone it out, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lexus. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I got 2 Saturdays a month there.
Come on, Benny.
And it's also not super late night because I was like, you want a DJ, but also you have Rugby Tots on a Sunday morning. But I've got the 10 till 1 shift, which is...
Take the Rugby Tots bag to the venue.
Oh, I'm getting straight on the minibus.
And then save time.
Sleep in cycle.
Sleep in cycle.
Yeah, so yeah, really pushing the DJing, and I've got my slot of the 7s, and yeah, that is what's going on now.
Unreal, Benny.
Yeah.
And then radio's calmed down a bit, doesn't it?
Radio's just back to my 1 show a week. Sport.
And the show's called?
Sports Fix.
Sports Fixed.
And after doing 3 weeks of full-time radio, where you have to put a 1 hour show together, it's all pre-recorded and whatnot, to then go back to my 10-minute segment.
Oh, I bet it was a breeze.
Felt like nothing this week. And I was like, yes, I'm back to this. It would take like 4 or 5 hours to put 1 hour together. Whereas now it takes like
30 minutes per 10 minutes or an hour?
not quite. It is an hour, and then there's a separate interview and whatnot. But compared to like, it was 3 or 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours every day, 5 days a week. Was busy.
Fair play, Alison.
Yeah.
How is she?
She's great. But
Yeah, girls doing well.
Yeah. Cool, Di. Well, why don't you talk to us a little bit more about your reasons for going back to rugby, and what are you actually doing right now to put yourself in the best position?
Well, the reason I went back, I did bodybuilding because I'd always wanted to be in good shape, always, but I'd never done it, and it would plague me like non-stop, but I just didn't do anything to sort it out. I was drinking all the time, wasn't training hard, or I thought I was training hard, but I wasn't, and it plagued me no end. And I knew that if I didn't do it, and I was a 50-year-old man, I would have dreadful what if, like unbearable. I knew I would. I knew I'd be like, what the fuck have I could have done it when I was young.
Would have happened before 50, bud.
Yeah, because I see you in people now, like, what ifs, and if only I did this. Because I have it to this day with certain things I did in the past. And it made me realise, I was like, I have what ifs now, and I'm still young. Like, and they're still, not anymore, not as much anymore, but it was pretty crippling. Imagine being 50 and not having the time left. It would be even worse. And I ticked off bodybuilding. I was like, right, I've done it. Like, I know how to get in nick. Like, I know how to look good. I've done it. That's ticked off. I know how to train hard. I know how to eat properly. I know how to recover. It's like all these things that I've ticked off in my mind. And then I'd done the bodybuilding, and I was sitting back, and I was like, right, if I want to do a next show, my next show was the year before. And I was like, do I want to do another show? And I thought about all the reasons, and then it didn't excite me as it did. I was like, I've done that. And then I was thinking about, I love training, not as if I was like an athlete doing the bodybuilding, but I felt like I lived that lifestyle. I was working hard, training hard, sleeping, recovery, everything was checked off, and I felt like an athlete. And if I think about rugby, and I love playing it, but I have resentment for not achieving things that I know I can. Like, I know I can do well. Like, I know I can perform. I know I can be an outstanding player. And if I got to 40 years old and I didn't go back and do it, it would kill me. Absolutely destroy me. And I want to be 40 years old focusing on that part of my life. I don't want to go to 40 and go, oh my God, I didn't go back to rugby. It's like, your time's up now. Whereas when I'm done rugby, I've played for Hong Kong, I've done this, I've done that. When I've finished, I can then focus on being a businessman. I can focus on that part of my life. So I want to do it now, so that when I'm older, I don't have the fear of, what if I, like, oh, if only I just went back.
Got me pumped up, Di.
Honestly, I got goosebumps, but that's what I feel like, because I see it all the time. And I remember I walked into the gym before, and it was just after my show, and I was like, you got the fucking glycogen in the muscles, there's veins everywhere, you're like feeling yourself. And I was like, I looked mad. Like, I was super pumped. I was still roughly like 8-9% because it was recently after the show, but you've got all this food in you, and you're like feeling it. And I remember someone in the gym was like, you look class. And I was like, thank you. And he's like, I wish I'd done it. And I could see the sadness in his face. Like, he was genuinely devastated because he was an older fella. And he was like, he's kind of, like, he's past it.
He's going to struggle to get there.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, he might be in a position where he's got a lot of money, this, that, and the other, but, like, I can do that when I'm older. He can't get that back.
Yeah.
And it was like a light bulb in my head going, I have to do this so I don't feel like that. Because you know where David Goggins, have you seen him when he's on Joe Rogan? And he was like, right, picture this. I think he was working for like...
When he was heavy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a cockroach
That's it,
sort of guy.
a pest control.
Yeah, that's it.
And he was like, picture this, Joe. I'd worked for the pest control for 40 odd years, milled about with my life, this, that, and the other, and I died. And then I get up to the gates and God says, David Goggins, Marine, world speaker, changed the world, saved people from dying. And he was like, that wasn't me. And God goes, that's who you could have been. And I was like, oh my God, like that was like, boom. And this is one of those moments where it's like, I am not, I'm not going to be 50 and go, fuck, I could have done it. And I don't want to be one of those men who looks at those boys and goes, oh, fuck, yeah, if only I did this, that, and the other. It's like, fuck that. Like, I can't even, like, that's not going to happen. So it's like, if I don't do it now, I'm going to forever regret it.
Yeah, that's class, but
yeah,
got me pumped up. But
yeah,
and do you know what as well? But not to fucking keep harping on as if we're like fucking sober gods now, but just not having that like slow. Alcohol's a fucking speed bump.
For us, I think it is anyway.
I think it's for a lot of people. A lot of people are fine with it though as well. Like, lots of people are happy with where they are. But, like, don't tell me you go out on a Saturday night and wake up on a Sunday, like, with no issues at all. If you've had a big night, like, that ain't a thing, but, yeah, you can get on with it or whatever. But, like, the tasks take a little bit more effort to get done. You've got to really fight with it. Your sleep is fucked. So, anyway, to your point, like, to like, really go towards those fucking, the two gates and you know, up there.
Yeah,
there's a faster way to do it.
100%. Like, and for us, I know alcohol is just only going to stop that.
Yeah.
Like I'm already late to the game, if I'm honest. Like I'm 28. Like, don't get me wrong, I know how to play rugby and I'm pretty good, but like, still got to get better and I've still got to get stronger, faster, fitter, heavier. Not too much heavier, but like, I've still got to catch up, and it's like, I can still do it.
Yeah.
But it's now.
Yeah.
And if I drink alcohol, nah, game over.
There's a guy that just passed away, pretty famous guy, called Ken Block. He's the founder of DC Shoes.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's like a skateboarding shoe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember all of his story right now, but he worked in graphic design, and then he sort of went and worked for like a t-shirt startup and whatnot. And he learned a load of skills and learned how to like raise money and you know, did a lot of stuff before then going to start his own brand. And then DC Shoes, and they like were going viral. It wasn't viral. There was no fucking internet back then, but it was like they were crushing it through really engaging adverts and in magazines.
Was really good,
It was in magazines. Anyway, he was dealing with all of these. Then they grow into this huge company and they start sponsoring all sorts of extreme sports.
Yeah.
You know, are they athletes?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I feel like that wasn't the word I was looking for. Anyway, BMXers, motocross, snowboard.
That's all I thought about. It's like skateboard, because you remember Sean Eaton and that?
That's it.
Because they had they liked skateboarding and
That's
BMX, and they all had the DCs.
So he got friendly with all these guys, and he saw how these guys were working, and he like picked it up through what they call like osmosis, just being in the same environment with them, how they were training, with their attitude, their like resilience, their, you know, all these things. Anyway, he then he becomes pretty proficient in a few different things and ends up going into motor racing professionally at 37. he's already done all this mad stuff, and he goes in and he's like, there's a different. He's got access to funds and money, and he earned it all. Whereas like at 37, like, you know, me in 5 years' time, like if I didn't have the backing of all the money he had and whatnot, but he earned it all.
He's still it's still unbelievable at 37. You've got to keep up with the young guns.
That's it. And his attitude was, and I even wrote it down because he just passed away, and I remember being like, fuck, I really enjoyed listening to his podcast with Tim Ferriss. And I remember writing it down in my journal, him talking about how all these young kids, and he was like, I can fucking outwork them, and they're out partying, and he's like, I know. He's like, my time's against me, but he's like, I know how to outwork every single one of the young guys. And he was like getting me fired up listening to him talk about why his age was a benefit, it was an advantage. It's different to playing rugby because he's driving a car, but his age was still against him. But he was like, I'm going to use my age as an advantage. And yeah, he was just like, that was his philosophy and mindset. And I was like, that's fucking class.
It's fucking true though. I agree, rugby's a ticking time clock because you don't want to be fucking...
Well, it's just your body, right? Like,
of course.
It's science.
Yeah.
Whereas when he's driving the car, you've got to be sharper with it, but it doesn't mean that he can't...
You're not running.
He's got to progress faster, but there's no reason why he can't go faster than the young kids, what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember writing it down, it was awesome.
I might listen to it.
It's really good, and he's like a no sort of... like lots of these really successful guys, he's like a no bullshit guy, and like everything has got to be done fast.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Have you probably, if you've never heard of him, you probably wouldn't know about it. He's got these insane car videos which like blew up his car brand. They're called Gymkhana. Have you heard of that? So they're like little. They're not documentaries. They're like, you know, you have these extreme sports films. Mm-hmm. They're like short documentaries, and Gymkhana is like about.
Did Amelia like this stuff?
Oh, don't know about that.
Is it for cars?
Gymkhana is him driving through different cities in these mad...
Amelia's just skateboarding.
Okay.
Sorry, go on, yeah.
It was him driving through these different places, mainly in America, in these mad places, and them setting up kind of like tricks along the way and donuts and whatever, but they're just driving in these really iconic places. But that's, again, it was just like all of his marketing brilliance, and they'd apply for permits and shut the city down, and
wow.
Yeah.
How long would the videos be?
I think they're probably like 8 to 10 minutes, something like that.
Class.
They're massive. They're all YouTube.
Okay.
So he was talking about how they used YouTube to their advantage. Like YouTube is now, you know, really normal and, you know, to everything. But like back then it wasn't anywhere near where it is now and stuff. Yeah. And the views they were getting back then, you were like, this is wild. But they've got all these. I think there's like maybe 1 through 10 or something. You should definitely go just have a little view of it. It's cool.
Class.
That's his brilliance. So yeah, outwork the young ones, boy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm putting in so much work, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But thanks, shout out to Knees Over Toes. I'm telling you, the guy's a genius,
Yeah.
Like, my flexibility, like the stretching is like quite tedious, to be honest with you.
Of course, but.
Some days like, oh God, like, gotta go up on this roof now and be there for an hour. But in the gym and then day-to-day life, it has helped no end. And it makes sense, really, like, to be more flexible. And PJ, shout out to PJ, we talk about different things and...
really struggling not to make a PJ joke.
Yeah. And I was telling him, I was just like, I genuinely feel like fitter because I'm loose and I'm like much more flexible. And he was like, bro, it's like running with jeans on. And I was like, you're right. He's like, try running with jeans on. How much more effort do you have to put into it? And it's true. I'm more flexible now, so movement is easy, which means I use less energy and I feel great. It's mad.
Yeah, I'm still struggling to not make a PJ joke.
Yeah, and it's helped. At the moment, I'm still in a hypertrophy phase, so I'm not doing all of the knees over toe. I'm doing a lot of split squats, Nordics, heels elevated squats, and it's definitely made this body ready for it. Bulletproof the knees, especially shoulders, and then also squats getting pretty deep, Di. We're on Ben Cullen level squats here, like we're fucking sinking those hips.
Certainly didn't bulletproof my knees. Could have done with that.
You know, you did. Remember you said you had tendonitis, and then after you did BJJ, it left.
Yeah.
He talks about like all this different type of stretching, and it literally goes. But
Yeah, it did, but
like you, I remember you telling me with Kaiki, you do all these stretches,
the animal movements.
the animal movements, and that's definitely like all those animal movements is like just loosened it up.
But do you know what? If you'd sat here, I sat there.
He's a legend, isn't he? Ben's BJJ coach.
Yeah, he's more than that. He's a fucking
Hey, brother! What'd he say?
monster.
Monster.
Us. He's a Brazilian 4th degree black belt, and Master Carson Gracie, who is royalty.
The Godfather. Yeah.
Not his grandson or son even. Anyway, he's royalty. So he learned under him. We sat there and I was interviewing him for the radio, and he just says stuff, but it's like, I don't want to say it's like reading the Bible, because that's not fair, but like, he's just like this book of like wisdom, and he'll just say things. And I was asking him about, you know, in jiu-jitsu has got this, he's like, if you want to be a world champion in jiu-jitsu, you have to start young. There's not many people that can start at like 15, 16, 17, because it's like this encyclopedia. There's this just vast amount of knowledge, and he's like, you just can't learn it fast enough.
Was he really young? Yeah.
Yeah, but he also took a gap. So he did 4 to 8, as in he was 4, started when he was 4, did it to 8, and then he did like swimming, I think cross country and jiu-jitsu, and said he was really good at swimming. So he did swimming till he was about 14, and then his mates kept being like, you've got to go back to jiu-jitsu, you've got to go back. And he's like, I went back to the gym, and then just like felt the energy and the brotherhood.
Fell
and all
back
that.
in love.
And then he hasn't stopped, and he's now like 40 something. So he took like, I don't know, 6 years off when he was 8 years old. But he's been doing it, and that's why he's 4th degree black belt. Even to get black belt's wild, and he's 4th degree black belt. Anyway, and he's just was talking about, I can't even phrase it well enough, and it's in his amazing accent as well. He was just talking about, you know, like people say these things like, you know, your rent's due and you've got to pay it every day or whatever. And he was just talking about, he's like, people have no idea what the price is to get to the top. He's like, every single day. And he's like, and he's like, in Brazil, you know, he's like talking about some people that go on to like fight in the UFC and whatnot. He's like, these people, it's worse than nothing. It's worse than nothing. You don't have, like, there's nothing, and then they're worse because of the danger. You might not even know where you're sleeping from night to night. But these boys are like in the gym every day, and he's like, for 20 years. And he's like, maybe they'll get there. Maybe they won't. And then he's like, people talk about wanting to be a world champion. And he's like, you have no idea the price it costs and the price you have to give every single day. And I was just sitting there like, wow.
Flip a table, stuff like, let's go.
And he's also just, he's got all these, the way he phrases things, and it's the philosophy of jiu-jitsu, and he talks about, you know, how, you know, jiu-jitsu is a sport and it's a lifestyle, but it's more than that, and how it can affect your everyday life and how you decide to break down a task, or how resilient you are when life is not linear and shit's going to go wrong more regular than it's going to go right, probably. But it's like jiu-jitsu prepares you for that. And, you know, even if you're having something really bad, you know that if you go to the gym, you're going to be surrounded by, mainly, it's a male-dominant, not that there's lots of females don't do it, but it's a male-dominated sport where everyone is equal. No one is, even if you're a black belt.
Doesn't matter where you're outside.
Yeah.
Either it's like when you get to the gym.
Even in the gym, like a black belt's a white belt. It's just awesome listening to him, but I could talk to him forever. Yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah,
and he's also so funny, but he like...
Yeah, he's character. I remember meeting him before, like when we were out, and he was just character.
Yeah. He's a hero. Ready or Die, I thought we'll talk a little, it kind of links on to what I was saying to Kaiki, because I told him about it. He was talking about some of the kids that he coaches. He thinks there's a couple of kids that he coaches in Hong Kong, given where they are at their level, that they really, if they wanted to and they could commit to it, like they could go on to like do really amazing.
World champs, yeah.
Just do. They have started young enough when they're at the level that they could go off and really do amazing things. Given they're 6, 7, which is wild. We were talking about different parenting and whatnot, and I just told the story about Dad. We were talking about kids understanding that lots of kids, particularly in Hong Kong, are maybe silver spoon and spoiled and give them whatever they want, don't know how to...
Participation medals.
Everyone's a winner when they're really not. And it sort of reminded me about a time when we went to Ireland on holiday.
I remember it.
It was like a summer holiday.
I loved that holiday.
It was great.
Class. I remember crying because I had to leave. I was like 8, and I remember crying on the ferry. So yeah, I remember crying. I was like, funny. I don't want to leave.
Why are you leaving? Are you fucking leaving? And there was a tennis court there in our... I don't know what to call this, but it wasn't a resort, but because we all stayed. It was like we were staying in a house within this resort or whatever. There was a tennis court there, and it was during the summer, and Wimbledon was on. I was like, well, I'm a tennis player for the summer. Do you know what I mean? So Dad had played a lot of tennis, played an awful lot of squash, more squash than tennis. So me and Dad would play tennis every day. But I'd get out there, and I'd be like practicing.
Andy Roddick,
like tennis serve. I'd be practicing, and I'd be hitting off the wall. I'd be like warming up, and like trying to up my skills, knowing me and Dad were playing in a bit.
So you pre-match?
Yeah. Well, obviously, I was probably playing. First of all, I was probably playing way too much. As it like, I probably knackered before we started. Right, that was what I did, and then also, I wasn't getting any coaching. I don't know if my
serve was getting in. You have no idea.
I mean, your serve is getting better because you're hitting it in more often than not. But like, do you know what I mean? The other things I was doing was like, it's hard to play tennis on your own, but I try it, but. And then I'd be like, I'd go into the house or whatever you want to call it. I was like, right, Dad, we're on, but.
Keith.
Outside. And we'd play one set every day. First to 6, I guess, we never got to a tie break. And
it never got that.
Never got to a tie break. I don't think it did anyway.
Yeah.
And Dad would beat me every fucking day. And I think I must have been, I think I was like 12. I think I was about 12. So not that young, but still young enough, do you know what I mean? Mm. And he beat me every fucking day. And then we were literally there for 2 weeks playing every day. And then on the last day, I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to fucking beat Dad today. Dad might even let me win today. Dad might go, you can have it today. And he didn't. And he fucking beat me again. And I was absolutely fuming that I'd gone 2 weeks. I'd put in fucking hours on that fucking shitty court. And was like, I didn't even get one match against Dad.
Tim Edmund racket?
Yeah.
Yeah, Slazenger.
I did, but I had a Slazenger Tim Edmund racket. That's why I didn't win, but...
Henman Hill. Murray Mound.
Fucking hell. Henman Hill.
No chance you winning,
didn't let me win, but at the time I was fuming, and just like... It was one of those... Oh, sorry, that was the conversation about Kiki. He was telling me about his boy. He's like... And this other kid, he's like, I'm planting seeds all the time with them. And he's like, they don't know how much it's going to affect them. But he's like, I know in 10 years' time, I'm planted all these seeds. That's how we got into the discussion about you don't realise stuff when you're younger. But he's like, you're planting seeds. And he's like, one day they'll sprout. That's what I mean. These are the ways he talks. And he's like, I'm telling all these young boys and we'll talk about it and whatever. And I'll say things to them. And he's like, I know it's not gone into them, but I'm planting seeds and one day it'll click. And then that's how I ended up talking about Dad. I was like, that was Dad planting a seed going, you didn't deserve to win, but you didn't win. You weren't good enough, but.
Tough.
Yeah.
Like you got
unlucky, but you didn't win. And what a lesson. But like at the time I was so tamping. I'm gutted that I didn't beat him, but he's gone, you ain't good enough, but it don't matter if you're 12. I don't give a fuck, but.
I don't care.
What age would that have been? I think you'd have been nearly 60.
Yeah, 59.
Yeah. And yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, this is me, I can't even beat this old boy. Yeah. He's gone, nah, you ain't good enough, but.
I always remember though, we'd play remember the shopping card game?
Yeah,
So you'd lay out the sevens.
Yeah, that's
or
right.
Or you'd put like the 7 of diamonds down to start.
That's it.
And then you'd only put, if you could go, you didn't have to. And you could hold people up. And I remember me and Amelia fucking crying, going, "You cheated. You're holding up cards." And we'd be like that. And he'd be like, "It's the game." And he wouldn't let us win that. And I remember, like, we were crying, like, "You can't hold the 7. Like, you've got to put it down, this, that, and the other." And he's like, "I'm not putting it down. Like, this is the game." And then Mum would be like, "Put it down." He'd be like, "Sue, I'm not putting it down." Oh.
Legend, but planting seeds all the time. You've got a couple of stories to tell about Dad. You don't need to do them today, but you thought of a couple of fun ones.
I got some absolute bangers. Like, as soon as you said, "We'll do a story about Dad," I was like, I wrote them down in my notes. I've got about 7 lined up.
Nice.
Yeah, fucking some mad stories. He had some stories, mine, didn't he? Like, because I think he went on all those rugby tours for so many years. He would tell me stories about rugby tours. And I remember we'd be in the car on the way to rugby and it'd be like 4 of us lads and we'd be in stitches, just like laughing at his stories. And yeah, he was, he was a legend.
You just reminded me about Dad giving me, Danny and Stu a lift to Cardiff, or to the train station. And Stu always was full of beans, wasn't he? And Dad said something like, "What's the plan tonight, boys?" or whatever. And Stu was like, "We're off to find crunking bitches, Keith." And Dad was like, "What the hell's a crunking bitch?" I can't remember what Stu said, and Dad went, "All right." Yeah, as if to be like,
Lovely.
"Now I know what you're up to." Oh, it's funny, but what the hell's a crunking bitch?
I can hear his voice as well. Oh, God.
Brilliant. What's on the agenda for the weekend, but or the next week?
PT Michael Denmark tomorrow. Shout out Mike, big die. And then just day with Caroline. We go to the carnival and stuff.
Like it.
And then chill out. And then Sunday.
Denmark giving you some tokens, or?
Yes, bro. He's a legend. He sorted everyone out. He sent me a pack and I just give them to loads of people in the gym.
Yeah.
He's such a legend. And then Sunday, PT in the morning. And then we've got UFC, boy. What do you reckon?
Ooh, that is a good
thinking?
topic of discussion. I really, really, really want Volkanovski to win.
100% same.
But
I do love Makhachev. He's a G.
you know, I was really confident going in. Not me as if it's me.
Charles.
Yeah, when he was fighting Oliveira, that he was not going to win. And, you know, I think lots of people, not that I'm an expert by any means, but I just feel like they are absolutely fucking built different, but these Dagestanis, and he can fight standing up as well.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be, unfortunately, George made this comparison the other day, when Izzy went up and fought Blachowicz. Blachowicz wasn't really that much better than him, but he was so much bigger than Izzy that he was able to just hold him down, and he didn't win the fight that well, but he clearly won the fight because he controlled him and took him down and manhandled him a bit.
Nice, George, yeah.
And I fear that is going to be the same. The difference is Volkanovski is fucking tiny. So it's whether you can hold him down because he's such a little pocket rocket.
Yeah, and he does say that he's
So that's the difference, is like, Izzy was going up to bigger, you know, whereas like Volkanovski's small.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And he talks about like fighting bigger guys all the time.
Yeah. So I really want him to win. It would be a hell of a shock, I think. And if he loses, whatever, good on him. He's
Right,
still,
give it a go. Yeah,
he's still the
he literally has
featherweight.
nothing to lose.
Is it featherweight? Is he featherweight?
He's featherweight. He's
Yeah.
gone to lightweight.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
it, yeah. So he's still featherweight champ. And same like Izzy. Izzy went up, lost, whatever. Come back, like, good on you.
Yeah, unreal for giving it a try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say him. I really want Volk to win. He's just such a genie. But then also, like, the Dagestanis are so funny. Like, on Countdown and Embedded, every time they come on, it's just hilarious. And I think it's because of their accent.
Yeah.
And they just...
And they're dry, but...
That's it. It's just so dry. And he's... Like, even the reference, and he's, like, feeding an animal, and he's like, you want some? and he's just like chatting to this random animal, like feeding it.
Where, in Australia?
Yeah, and he's just like all around, and then they're like, this one was talking about how he saw this barracuda, and he's like, it was like this, and then Islam's like, yesterday like this, today like this. How big was the fish? And it was just so funny.
As in he was calling his bullshit?
Yeah, saying like, how big is this fish getting?
Oh, got it.
And then also like Khabib, when he was like, before first round, everyone believed. After first round, no one believed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And then Connor Tap Machine.
Yeah.
Oh, just, I think it's their accent and the kind of the broken English.
It
as
is,
well,
but that's
which
what I
plays
was going to say. It's like them missing out words.
Yeah, no one believe. But someone left a comment saying like, class, everyone believes in Volk after first round. Won't believe.
I like Khabib, send location. As if like, I give a fuck, like send location. Send location.
Yeah, so fingers crossed Volk, but even Makashev's a legend as well.
Yeah, I think Makashev's going to be champ for a while. But if Volk won, unbelievable.
What do you think about LeBron as well, Di?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Let's go.
Yeah, that was pretty epic. What is he, 39?
38.
38. Unbelievable. To like, not even just be playing, but like dominating.
Well, he's running for MVP. Like, man's on fire.
Yeah. It's not even a case of, you know.
Okay, you've hit.
Well, no, but like, you know, like with Shaq towards the end, he was playing when he. I'm certainly no NBA expert, but like Shaq was playing, but like, you know, he's like playing less.
You go on a decline.
He's playing less. He can't have been at LeBron's age.
I'm not too sure, but yeah.
Either way, he ain't running around like that. He was a different player anyway, I know. But what I mean is, like, no one runs around like that at 38.
Not 20 years in.
Yeah.
Like, knees give in. And there was a video. Did you see the Netflix documentary on the Redeem team when they went back and won the gold medal? And LeBron's, they like shooting on the court. And LeBron's like super young doing this in 2008. And he's finished training and he immediately puts ice around his knees. And Dwayne Wade's like, bro, like, what are you, like 40 years old already, like this, that, and the other? And like, obviously, I'm not saying Dwayne Wade wasn't great, because he was, but
look at him now.
He was doing that at 20, and then now, 38, he's still dominating. It's like, the man has looked after himself. I don't know, it's like, it's only an ice pack around the knees, but even then
it was the practice.
He was thinking, you know what, if I just keep recovering, then surely I'm going to last longer. And God knows how many he's going to get up to. And everyone was like, no one's going to break Kareem's record. Bang. And he's nowhere near finished. Like, how many? 3-4 more years? If, like Vince Carter was on a decline.
So was MJ anywhere near this record?
No.
Nowhere near?
No. So it's LeBron, Kareem, Bill Russell. So Kareem had 38,000.
Yeah.
And then Bill Russell had 31.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a documentary on Bill Russell on Netflix. I'm going to watch it. It's on this weekend.
People still ain't going to say LeBron's the greatest, are they?
Nah, you still have people who will argue that say he is, and then it's mad though. You see people talk about MJ back in the day, and like everyone's like, you have no idea. Like, he was so much better than anyone else. And I've heard so many different arguments just through like being on YouTube and following basketball and ESPN First Take and different ones, and then Shannon and Skip. And people will say MJ was like the better player, but like LeBron overall was better. He's like assists, like he's fourth best in the world assists, like number 1 point scorer. He's like, he was so rounded, and he gives the ball to everyone, so he makes everyone else great or whatever. But then if people say one-on-one, it's like MJ fucking all day. But then Bill Russell has got 13 rings.
Wow.
It's like 11 or 13, somewhere there. And I'm like, if you're going on championships, like, no one's near 11.
So when was he playing?
I think it's 70s. But yeah, it's like 11
Do you know what?
rings.
I love that about, unlike other sports, like American sports are just, you know, structured differently. You know, they're much more commercial and whatnot. But it's like, you know, there's like stats for everything.
Oh, they create so many stats.
But it makes it cool as well. Like, you know,
100%.
like they build narratives around them, and yeah, people love to talk about them. Whereas you don't really get that. Like, what do you get in rugby? Like, who's the top try scorer in international rugby? I don't know. Do you know?
Yeah, you don't really talk about them.
I don't know. I know Shane Williams has got a lot. Like, he's top Welsh scorer. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just different. Like,
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
you know,
Yeah.
football. You know, I guess football's a bit different. You talk about Messi and Ronaldo and whatnot, but like,
Yeah.
American sports are they just build them and tell the different
Analysts
stories.
on every single thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you would, I don't know, like sometimes you see tackle counts, and like obviously you see tries, but like they don't really bring that up too much, do they?
No, it's a bit more of a collective approach, I would say, in the analysis, rather than being like, this guy has made. In American sports, like all the time, isn't it? This guy's this
Most
this,
rush yards.
all the time,
Yeah,
all the
bang,
time.
bang. Yeah. Most threes, like
yeah.
Curry on point. Yeah.
Maybe it's because, I'll tell you what it might be. It's because of the rugby and football. There's 45-minute halves. Whereas like basketball, there's quarters. There's breaks in play. There's commercials all the time. You know, maybe that's part of it. Anyway, I just love when people like love to talk about these.
Yeah, because I haven't got a fucking clue. I think it's a great.
Even like the NFL Combine and things like that. They're like these old school things. Like
That is class.
it
yeah.
makes no sense in 2023 to put someone on the bench press and see how many times they can bench 100 kilos. It don't make sense, but 40 years ago it did. But they've got these records and they don't want to stop doing them.
Because people, but it's so fascinating to watch as like an audience, because like I remember DK Metcalf, like I've seen, like you see his combine and you're like, what the fuck? Like when he benched 100 kilos like 20 odd times, and yeah, just it is fascinating to see all these young guns and then him do like the 40-yard dash in 4 point something, and he's this monster galloping down the run, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Don't they have one for NBA or anything? No,
They would have.
So I have no idea.
I'm sure they would do.
Yeah, I know they have scouts, but I don't know if they have like a combine.
Maybe not. Oh, fuck, God, I know. Very good.
We did a combine for Scottish one, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was right.
It was fucking class. And when I want to do it again this year, I'm going to speak to Ivan. So when we do pre-season, I'll be like, oh, look, is it okay if we use the gym? If everyone gives $100 this, that, and the other just to use it for the day. But how good would it be to do like the combine again? Because everyone loved it when we did it, like all the boys. And then obviously you have like beers or whatever after, a couple of non-alkies. So yeah, I'd like to bring that back.
It's solid. Very good. Tell you what, maybe we'll cut it there for today.
Class day.
Fucking solid work.
Pumped down.
We'll get one a week out shortly.
Yeah, we'll figure out next week's Friday.
Lovely. Final note for the Fresh Alternative podcasts worldwide.
Thank you very much for listening. We appreciate you listening and watching our videos, and we make sure we get many more to come.
I stole that from the Schmo. He always says that at the end of his podcast, end of his interviews.
What do you say?
He's like, any message for the Jack Cullen fans worldwide? And they're like, they all get a bit awkward, and he goes, he's the pro, I'm the Schmo.
Out. Class. He's such a good character, though, and he
Yeah.
really leans in on it.
And on that,
Ow. Lay down.
did it work? Oh, it stayed.
Oh, thank God.